Good evening, YouTube. You saw the title. So, what are the pros and cons to being the 51st state? Well, the dollar is worth more. Right now, the US dollar is worth $1.44 to our dollar, which means our dollar is only worth 56 cents. That's the lowest it's been in I don't know how long. Forever? It's bad. And because it's so bad, our cost of living, rent, homes, cars, car insurance, car repairs, car parts, food, gas, all that jazz, everything is poof, and it's going to get worse. All right. So, granted, we know what's going on right now in our own country. Trudeau just resigned, but he didn't, did he? No, he's still in power because he prorogued government until sometime in March. And now they're taking him to court, right? Because of that, because, well, it's an illegal proroguing of government, right? Now, whether or not they're going to fry the boy for it or not, we don't know. We can only hope for the best, right? And then we got our election really fast. And our election still isn't going to come soon enough because Trump takes over in about another week or so in the States as the official inaugurated president, in which case that's when his little mouthing off he's been doing on YouTube is going to take a turn for the worse probably for us, because he's not just after Canada, he's also after Greenland. Okay, he wants both, so he wants to have his cake and eat it too. See, we won't sell to him. Okay, even Trudeau said it. We're not going to sell Canada to Trump. And Pierre definitely said it too. We definitely are not going to sell. And we're not, because he can't afford us anyways, even if we were going to sell. So, and he's not going to take us by force, by military power, because, well, he actually can't, because we don't have a military to fight back with. So, that's kind of out of the program. So he's going to do economic damage to us. And it just takes a couple of executive orders, just do, and he owns us. Pretty simple, right? So it won't be a choice if he's actually serious about this, okay? Let's hope to God he's just still playing a big prank on everybody, because, you know, and I'm pretty good at reading people, and I'm seeing that he seems to be pretty serious about this. So I'm a little nervous myself, and you should be too. Now, there are benefits, though. Let's talk about those benefits. Well, the dollar goes further. An $800 computer in Canada right now is $600 in the States. A $800,000 home right now in Canada is $524,000 in U.S. currency. Your $18 an hour that you're making right now is about $12 and change per hour in U.S. dollars, okay? And the list goes on. If you're paying $1,100 for rent, well, now it's going to go down to $740 some bucks a month, okay? And et cetera, et cetera. Gas prices are going to go way down. Everything's going to go down, 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 because the dollar buys more. It's a strong dollar, therefore it buys more. So you spend less and you get more for your money, okay? Either way, Americans are still whining at the pumps as it is. This is really expensive. Frig off. Come to Canada. Put gas in your car here, okay? Then you can whine about expensive prices. You guys getting off cheap, okay? But to them, it's expensive. And yeah, I kind of agree with that, actually, when you think about it, realistically. But either way, what else is a benefit? Our military is going to exponentially go poof overnight. We have real fighter jets. We have real weapons for our soldiers. We have proper instructors to train our soldiers in hand-to-hand combat, armed and unarmed. Okay? We will kick ass and take names. Yeah, baby! America. Okay, so there are benefits, okay? What else is going to happen that's kind of a good thing, right? Well, there's many, many things that are going to be good out of this, like no more borders, no more passport to go to the States, because you're part of the U.S., so hey, we don't have a border. You want to go to Kentucky for a month? Sure, go ahead. Hey, you want to stay? You want to move to Kentucky? We have no issue with that. You can even get a job because you're an American now. So it doesn't matter. No more working visas. None of this green card shit. None of that. It's all gonzo because you're part of the U.S., right? Definitely some good points there, I got to admit. You know, there are places in the States I would love to go, and I just want to stay there because there's no frickin' snow, okay? And it doesn't really get cold. And it's like, oh yeah. I'm so in. You don't need to go to the Philippines like my father did. He has to deal with typhoons, earthquakes, and tsunamis. I'm kind of like sitting back here going, yeah, the old man may have a good, and he's got a hot wife too, but, because he got remarried. So I can actually say she's hot. It's not a bad thing, okay? Anyways, the point is, it's the climate, right? He escaped Canada to go there. He married a Filipino girl, and he loves it there. And he's an old codger, and he's still kicking, right? So I guess that kind of atmosphere is working for him. And that's fine too, right? But there's places in the States too that are nice and warm and toasty too, right? So, but you'd be able to move there now and not have to worry about any kind of working visas or anything, right? So, hey, that's a bonus, gotta admit. And there's so many more good things about becoming part of the U.S. But what are the bad things? What are the things that we should really look at? Well, first of all, our entire police force is going to cost a gazillion dollars to retrain them in. We're also going to be repropaganded to become Americans in our brains. Viva la USA! Okay, and then of course we're going to have to learn Spanish, a lot of us, because, dual language after all. French is gone. Yes! Okay, and I'm French and I can say that, so I don't care. But the national languages there are literally English and Spanish. Here it's English and French. So there you go. So we'll be switching that around finally. Quebec's going to be pissed. But, oh well, too bad, so sad. We outnumber you anyways, Quebec. But when it comes to the things like that, I mean, that's going to change, and it's going to be very costly to do that. Now, even Trump said, hey, I don't mind, giving you guys money and helping you out and this and that if you're a state, but I literally don't need your cars, your eggs, your bacon, don't need your friggin' milk. Got all that shit here. Don't even need your damn trees. It's kind of a thing that's been formed as a habit. And you got to admit, the guy's on the right track here. So he doesn't have to subsidize anything if he doesn't want to, because we're not a U.S. state. But if we are a U.S. state, he doesn't mind doing that because that's part of taking care of your own people, right? So think about that, right? But it's still a bad point either way, because it's still going to cost him a gazillion dollars to put out the propaganda to switch our brains from Canadian mode to U.S. mode. We're going to have to change our way of thinking, our way of life, okay? Our acceptance of things that we don't want to accept now, we're going to have to accept, okay? But the retraining in the police forces, they're going to have to understand and know the U.S. Constitution, all of it, and they're going to have to know what they can and can't get away with, right? And then that means we need to educate ourselves like the U.S. citizens do, because there's a lot of shit that goes down in the States that the cops will try and walk over you on, and yeah, they'll probably be trying that here too once we become America, and we better know our constitutional rights, type of thing. So you gotta know your stuff. And I'm surprised. I've actually seen teenagers rip cops a new one in the States and send them on the walk of shame. And the kid is just like, I like their version of freedom of speech. Has a lot of benefits to it, I guess, because ours is all censored right now. But there is that. We are going to inherit a lot of their problems too, especially the financial debt of the U.S. They're in hock for trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, and now we're going to have to bear that weight load. Okay, if we become a state, that's another bad problem, and we're going to have to inherit any other problems they've got too. Okay, that's just the way it's going to be, because now we're part of them. We have to be a part of everything, right? Now, there's also going to be no more free health care. That's going to be a big issue. I'm not sure what's going to happen to things like our programs for like ODSP for people on disability in Ontario alone. And then you got all the other provinces that have their disability programs, and then the welfare programs. I don't know what's going to happen with that stuff, if it's still going to even exist, or are we all going to end up homeless that are on those services, right? That's going to be another thing. And it's going to be like, oh man, this is just, I don't know how much sense this is making, but there's going to be a lot of dark times before the light comes through, I'll tell you that. Because it's a big changeover to switch over everything. especially with an entire country having to switch all of our ways and this and that. Oh my gosh, they're gonna have to hold classes for us to learn the U.S. Constitution. We're gonna have to take classes just so that we can figure this stuff out. You know what I mean? Now, there is the right to bear arms. Now, I agree, but I disagree. Okay? In Canada, it's not a right to have a firearm. It's a privilege. Okay? And in Canada, every Canadian citizen, whether they want a unrestricted license or a restricted license, because they are separate, we must take the appropriate courses and pass those courses to apply for a firearm license, which we can still be turned down on. And believe me, it takes several months before the RCMP even makes up their mind if they're going to give you a PAL or not. I'm still waiting, and I went for the PAL, which is just shotguns, which are unrestricted, and unrestricted rifles. I didn't bother with the pistol thing or anything. I like pistols, but I suck with them, so I figure if I'm going to spend $1,000 on a gun, I'm going to spend it on a really sweet rifle. I'm not going to spend it on a pistol that I can't shoot with anyways, because I don't get along with pistols. I never have. So, but I do like them. I think they're cool, but I just don't get along with them. I get along better with a rifle because I'm really good with them. So, but I went for my license because I want to do some target shooting, you know, plinking stuff, you know, like with a 22 caliber or a 17 HMR, you know. But then I also want my shotguns and my other rifles for hunting. That's it, you know. But the states with their right to bear arms, I mean, these guys can have fully automatic weapons. They can have, you know, 50 BMG military grade weapons. I mean, this is like some serious shit. And I'm like, who actually needs that stuff, you know, for private citizens? I guess they do, but then we're going to be part of them, so we have to accept that culture. And it's not going to be an option, right? Now, I'm pretty sure there are some Canadians going, I can't wait to be part of the States just for that alone. That's worth it to me. Screw healthcare. I want the guns, right? And because people are just like that. Me, I could care less, okay? But for us, it's a privilege, and it should be a privilege, right? Because you got to work your butt off. It's going to cost you money for taking the course. See, Americans, they don't have to take a gun course. They don't have to do anything except go into a gun store and go, I want that, and well, I got to have that, okay? And then the guy's like, got some ID on you? Yep, okay. You filled the paperwork. I'll go do your background check you out, and come back, and we'll just go from there. And as long as everything comes back the way it's supposed to, then, yep, you walk out of there with your guns. Except for your pistols, there's a holding period. I think it's like a couple of days or 2 weeks or something, whatever. But any rifles, doesn't matter what it is. If it's a rifle, it could be a fully automatic, semi-automatic, doesn't matter. You walk out of there right away with it. You're good. And no course required. It's like, I really don't feel comfortable with that. You know, I mean, I'm glad I took the course. I mean, not that I didn't have experience with regular firearms. I have friends with firearms that taught me how to shoot all the same ones, except for the lever actions and one other one. But either way, all the other guns I was fine with, and I learned the other ones because of being in class. Now, there's no live ammo in class, obviously, but you do get to learn to load, offload, cycle ammunition, prove the gun safe. You learn about different safety things in different situations, etc. So you're safe with a gun. Americans don't have to take any of those courses. They do offer them. You can take them, but you don't have to take it because you have a right to bear arms after all. Okay? And it's pretty easy to get carry permits too for, you know, concealed as well as, you know, open carry, that sort of thing. I mean, hell, in America, you could walk down the streets with an M16 on your shoulders. Nobody gives a crap. You know, it's like, not in all states, I don't think, but I think what Trump's trying to do, last time I heard, is he wants to make it for all the U.S. states. Open and concealed carry, no matter what, it's all going to be the same. Because I'm pretty sure I heard him say that. So, but yeah, there's going to be that problem too. So, and I'm sure there's a few other negatives I've probably missed. But you know what? In the whole, there are definitely a lot of appealing positives to it. But I think as far as the negative side, my vote is going to be, as much as I currently am not a huge fan of Canada at this point because of how the government has really screwed us all, I still would not want to become part of the U.S. Okay? The bad stuff is stuff that it's just a little bit too much. But at the same time, I don't know. It might just happen whether we like it or not. You know, that's the thing. And that also scares me that, you know, we don't get a say in this. We don't get a vote, you know. But I have heard that there are Canadians, because I watched videos, and there's Canadians that are like, yeah, I'm all for becoming part of the States. You know, well, what about the free healthcare? It's no big deal. You know, who cares? There's other benefits, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, this is somebody who obviously is in good health right now, but wait till he has to get surgery and walks out of there with a bill for multi-thousands of dollars that now he's got to figure out how to pay because he didn't get health coverage. And even if he did get health coverage, it probably doesn't cover the whole damn thing anyways, so he's still got to find the money. And anybody on a minimum wage job, even in the U.S., ain't making very much an hour, because I have no idea what minimum wage is in the U.S. I'm sure we could easily check that on Google, but you can do it yourself. But yeah, I mean, to me, I don't think that there's enough pros there that are going to convince me that it's a good idea. You know, that's just my feelings. But in the comments down below, tell me what your feelings are as a Canadian. Do you think it would be a good idea? You know, like, are you for this or against it for becoming part of the U.S.? Okay, but just keep in mind, he also wants to take over Greenland too. He wants to turn the U.S. into a bigger superpower than what it is. Okay, kind of like putting nukes back in place in Canada. He will do that, and we won't have a choice if we're part of the U.S. Last time they tried to put nukes back in, we said no, and they couldn't do it. But now, if we get taken over, it won't be an option, and that makes us another threat. It also takes us from being a non-threatening pacifist country or peacekeeping country, turning us into the same mentality as the U.S. Now, I'm talking about the government themselves, not the people. I have no problem with any person alive in any country. It does not matter to me, because we all just want to live in peace and quiet and be left alone. But it's the governments that are the problem, and the governments program people, right? And that's bad, but it happens in every country, including here, unfortunately. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm sure I probably missed a few goodies, and I may have missed a baddie or two, but I think we pretty much covered it, and that's my opinion, my thoughts. I'm definitely not completely convinced it's a good idea, for sure. So, anyway, see you on the next one.